Hey everyone, it's that guy over there bringing you game 4 of the Sunflower GT. Trying to push through these last couple battle reports so I can move on to more content. And while the memory's still fresh, so anyway, this game is versus Beastmen. And it's a chariot list, so MSU style, great fun, great theme, a lot of awesomely converted figures. So anyway, here we go for a picture of deployment. Um, So as you can see, it's a lot of, I believe they're Rackham werewolf miniatures. Um, yeah, it's just maxed out chariots and razor gore models with some Minotaur characters here. I've got some more close-up pictures to show you, but you can kind of see where my units all ended up. He has a scouting um, character. He's got the skin of man upgrade, so I pushed those guys up to allow me to vanguard. Um, yep, here's some more pictures uh, of his army. These buildings, we're playing them as occupy, or did we say they were occupiable? I don't think I end up in them regardless, because if he charges the building, kill those guys pretty quick. So here's my right side, his left. Again, multiple Razor Gore and Tuscarora chariots with here, I got another picture here. So right in the middle, we've got the so the general is that chariot with all the red on it, with the guy with the samurai-looking sword. Then the BSB is this is from left to right. The BSB is the red werewolf towards the back with that runic icon-looking thing on his back. Then it's a Minotaur character, Gorbel, I think. Could be a Doom Bull. Um, is the white werewolf, the uh, the the guy who's kind of leaping forward with the red on his thighs and shoulders. That's another Doom Bull with. This guy ended up only having a 6+ armor save as his only defense, but he had major offensive capability. So I definitely didn't want to get in combat with him. And then those two, identical miniatures in the middle. Those are two Razor Gores. But yeah, the rest are all chariots of different varieties. Here's some more pictures of what my deployment looks like. My army's pretty ravaged at this point. All the flying bases coming apart. But yeah, okay. And last picture, deployment promise. This is all my Vanguard moves. So Lizardmen turn 1. I move forward like so. I managed to get first turn for the first time in the whole tournament, which is good for me. So you see me kind of moving up to start chaffing up. The Ripperdactyls here and in this picture, they're just setting themselves up to fly over on my next turn. But yeah, everybody else, my idea, because his whole army can only move like 7 inches at a time, was to set up, kind of spread out all over the place, but then push right because that's where all his points are, and I can avoid some of his chariots by doing that. These guys are moving up into chaffing positions because I know all those Doom Bull, Gore Bull characters are definitely going to start charging. And it's just there to slow down as much as I can. So I Irresistible Force a spell, and I kill a couple skinks from each of these two units because I get the spell being Hand of Glory. You see the 3 next to the Razor Dons. That means that they get +3 ballistic skill. Just get that large template. Other than that, no effect. I think I cast. I start picking on this guy with the Arcane Unforgings and things of that nature. So I'm not sure if this is through magic or shooting. I take a wound off. This guy's got like a 2+ rerollable though, so that was really hard to get past. So that's why I think it was Arcane Unforging. I know at some point I take off this guy's 4+ ward save. It's hard to see, but I've got some wounds on this guy. That kind of reflective area, kind of underneath that lead werewolf's head, is the wound counter. And this is what the board looks like at the end of turn 1. So right away he's going to lead off with some charges. Those Pterodon Riders, Turned out to be really great for redirecting charges and things of that nature. So anyway, they flee. I think the Yeah. So anyway, they flee back. I can't remember if yeah. So these Razordons, they fail their rerollable leadership test, which is terrible. Um, they bounce out there, uh, and let's see. So anyway, this is kind of where his charges end up. So I really like those Pterodon riders for redirecting the charges because they can rally and then just fly right back up. But other than that, everything else just moves forward as you see. Again, because they're just movement 7, they're kind of hard to move around, and the only way you can move less than movement 7 is with the failed charges. So he redirects a couple different ways, and just ends up as you can see it. So the challenge that this list presents is that there's a lot of units, MSU, that can just charge a whole bunch of different units, right? Because if you pass your leadership check, you can charge something else. So if you have 10 units, you could charge theoretically 20 things. So it's harder than, like, let's say I was playing like an Ogre Gut Star, I could just redirect the big unit and everything else would be rather inconsequential. But because any one of these units getting into my skinks would probably just kill them, I have to flee a lot. So, and it's hard for you can see my chameleon skinks are in the back now. It's hard for me to recover units once they've fled, right? Because unless they're the flying units doing the feigned flight, they just kind of stay where they're at for a turn. So anyway, Lizardman turn 2. He just has a level 2 wizard and really no shooting, so his turns go by pretty quick. But I move forward as you see. My skinks are trying to envelop his. I can't really do the Zulu Dawn thing of moving past his front lines, so I just kind of have to pick out the targets that are isolated because there's really no way for me to sneak past. You see that my Ripperdactyls are flying past out of his charge arcs. They'll be behind enemy lines here soon. I really want to get either the General or the BSB and the Ripperdactyls and blot-toted both of them. I'm also angling for that character with the 6+ armor save because I think I can get him. The Slan breaks off because I just need all my skinks for chaff missions, and you can see everything ends up that way. Just some more pictures. So I think I get off an Arcane Unforging again, and then with the rest of my shooting, I'm able to kill off that Doom Bowl character, just because I was able to plink off his magical armor. So I got the 4+ ward save last time, and then I got his something where I just reduced him down enough where I could do those last couple of wounds. You can see the shooting here. I'm trying to take off those front 2 units, the Razor Gore, the Razor Gore and the Doom Bowl. So my first unit of shooting is able to get enough wounds through to kill it, and then I'm able to pull off the Doom Bowl character as well, just through how much shooting I have. And you just had a 6+ armor save. Sorry for a little bit of a pause there. So that Doom Bowl character with the 6+ armor save, my opponent told me that and he's from Colorado, and that's the nice thing about these GTs, you get to play people from all over the country, and they play with a lot of closed lists there. And I'd never thought about that, but you could really get away with, he was just kitted out to the max to be, powerful in close combat without much of a save. And I guess that's pretty effective over there because until you shoot at him, you don't know that he's only got a 6+ armor save. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So, and he didn't really want to like tailor his list or anything like that to this tournament. So he just played with the list he always plays with. But that's kind of cool. I've never played in a closed list environment, and I could see where that'd be a lot of fun. So Beastmen turn 2, he goes ahead and starts charging. The funny thing about this unit you see in the bottom left hand corner is he he needs a 3 to make it, because it's 7. It was like 10 inches away, and he rolls 3 ones, so he fails that charge, which is terrible, really unlucky. And I think I stood and shot and even did a wound to add insult to injury. But you see the rest of these charges. The rest of my skink cloud is falling back, running through each other, trying to get away. I didn't have a picture of the Razordons rallying, but they've rallied, and then everything else that you see at these Croxagores, they're just kind of stuck there. They're not going to be able to get out for a little bit. I hold in a couple of areas here, so that's why the general gets in with that skink unit, and then the other, I don't know if he's a gore bull or a doom bull, but he ends up getting into my skinks there. The rest, everybody, you see all the charge arrows everywhere, ends up where you see them. Yeah, this is the failed charge. It's terrible. Just really unlucky. Yeah, and then this is where everybody else kind of moves up in their backfield. These chameleon skinks that had scouted up here, they fled at some point, and then they rallied, and I was just hiding them behind this hill so that they could pop up and start shooting off some pot shots at these guys as they run past, trying to get into the action. So Lizardmen turn 3. You can see I think I've eaten 2 of my skink handlers at this point. That's why I got the 2 dice there. I rally my Pterodon Chief and fly next to him so that he can't really pivot around. The Ripperdactyl's charging in the rear of the BSB, and that's really good for me. I know I don't get my killing blow against it because he's a monstrous infantry, but I'm in the rear. I've got a charge, so that's 3 already. And he is rerollable because he is the BSB, but if he breaks, I just run him down because he's the BSB. So I'm hoping, I get to reroll hits and not to wounds, it just to hits. So we'll see. Yep, so this is where everything else. So you see that Gorbel character made it in and only killed 2 of my skinks, which I thought was pretty fortunate for me, unlucky for my opponent. Yeah, these skinks with the 5+ armor save and the 6+ ward save really, you saw with the Stegodon and now against a Gorbel character, they're just not, I don't know, they don't fold over as easily as I thought they would. I'm definitely out of range though, so I was really lucky to hold. But with 3 dice, your chances at double ones are pretty good. So, oh yeah, so he had moved back one of his chariots, and I had to charge it, so I charged in the front. And then these guys flew around, lining up in rear arcs. And then my wingless, headless, riderless Pterodon rider, who broke horribly, is there. So in combat, I do 1 wound, and I think I take 1 wound. Or maybe I don't even take any wounds. But he holds, which is unfortunate because now that Razor Gore can charge me in the flank. These guys break and they get away, but as you can see, over 2 combats, he's killed like 3 of them, which is really not so good. These guys win their combat and pursue and chase them off the table. They were fighting one of the Razor Gore Chariots, I think. So just getting lucky with their frenzied attacks. And this is at the end of my turn. You see the Razordons have kind of moved up. And I'm just kind of in a holding position now. My unit's on the right side of the table, and it's kind of how I envisioned this going. Just pushing to the right to try to avoid some of his bigger units. So on his turn, he charges in. His general moves around, faces inward. See, he's got 2 wound markers on him now. So I've been casting spells and trying to shoot at him too, but he's got a pretty good armor save. His turn, he charges that skink unit and wipes them out just because they'd fled on my turn, so he just charges them. You see a Razor Gore unit here in between those 2 statues that has 2 wound markers on it. So that's probably going to be my next target. And the Razor Gore who had charged in the flank of the Razordons, they're not able to kill them all. And they pursue, are unable to catch them. I've got 2 wounds on the BSB now. I think he's got 4. But I've got another unit of Ripperdactyls that are going to come in the flank, as you can see here, for my turn 4. My other Pterodon chief isn't able to get in, or else I might send him in too, but he probably just would have challenged him. So maybe it was better I didn't. So, so there's that. I'll try to get lucky with that BSB. The rest of my units, they surround that wounded character there, and then Chameleon Skink's just trying to get in the way for these guys over here. My Skink Priest runs up to cast some spells into the general, because I had a special card that if I could kill it was either BSB or the general. I think it was the general, because I remember I killed the general, but the chariot was still alive, so I needed to kill the chariot too. And so there's some vested interest in me killing off the general there. So I can't remember. I don't see that character there anymore. So I think at this point I'd killed the character off the top of the chariot. Yeah, because you see him standing on the other side of the woods. So it's just the chariot at this point. I think the Ripperdactyls, they end up rallying, so I rally them. And there's that. I put a 5 question mark here because we were running out of time, and I really needed to keep rolling my dice and not take pictures. So at this point, I'd killed off the chariot, and the BSB, which was good for my points for the game, but also killing off the chariot and the general on top of him was able to secure me that game, or that point. You know what? I think I had to kill the BSB for my point, and then his was keeping his general alive. And if you denied your opponent his card, then you would get the points. So I snapped this photo, and here's what it looks like at the end of the game. I was unable to kill that Razordon. He charges into the flank of my Razordons, but we don't fight that battle at this point, because it probably wouldn't have made a difference, to be honest. But there it was. So you can see where everybody ended up. That's pretty much the end of the game. So I rallied that Ripperdactyl, and he just flew over here. So anyway, it was a 7-1 victory to the Lizardmen. It was really a fun game, and it's, what a great army theme. And I talked to the tournament organizers afterwards, because they were asking about the games here, because at this point, we were in the contention for top tables. So everybody that's when people start to gain interest in what the results of different games, and we all were talking about how this is such a unique build that really only Beastmen can do, with all the chariots, and it's something you really want it to work, and for an alternate Beastmen build other than just hordes, and with all the impact hits when they charge in, I could see it doing a lot of damage. And with the Shadowcaster, he didn't have a level 4. I don't even think he had a Dispel Scroll, and it was just a really interesting list, and really stood to do a lot of damage. It's just that he talked to me afterwards and said that after, when we rolling up to the game, it was kind of like, I was intimidated because I've never played against an army like that, but he was saying that with all the poison shots, with only having 4+ armor saves across, at best, a 4+ armor save other than his characters, he wasn't sure how he's going to get very many points. So again, that's something I need to take into consideration, is how my list is built, so that way my opponents have a good time, because you kind of have the social contract where we're going to be spending 2.5 hours playing each other. You'd want them to have a good time. I know it's a tournament. I know you're supposed to try to be winning, but it would bother me if folks are like, I would rather not play against you. So anyway, the magic missiles, direct damage, and poison. That's a pretty good potent combo with the Lizardmen. I think that's what you got to do, because really anything in close combat, like Saurus Warriors. I bet you a Razor Gore Chariot, if they might not be able to take out a Brachiosaurus, but one Razor Gore Chariot at toughness 5 with 4+ armor save and all the impact hits and all the attacks would probably be able to hold them up for most of the game. And unless I had some sort of character in there, I don't have confidence in the close combat ability of Lizardmen. Um, Again, I felt confident in my ability to choose combats. That one slide where I had the picture of me fencing off his like the Doom Bowl character and the Razor Gore, I was able to kill both of them, but I was right next to his lines. I thought he was just going to run down all of those units there. I thought I was sacrificing all those points, but they got away, and so I continued to be able to choose those combats, and it's a lot more effective than I initially thought going into this tournament with the fleeing. You really can just get away from folks, so I'll have to take that into consideration in the future. And then pterodons. So I had the pterodon riders, and I spent a lot of points trying to get them to have all these 2+ armor saves and all these. And I think that's unnecessary. I think we just need to. I think I just need to get. I have 6 riders, and I have 3 of the old ones. So I could have 9 Pterodon Riders already, and for 315 points, they would be great because the Skinks, they move up, they get charged, they flee, and then when they rally, they just stand there for a turn. The Pterodon Riders with the Feigned Flight, you can flee, rally, and then move 20 inches anywhere and fly over everything, and they just get themselves out of the way so that you can continue to move around. So I think I need to, start put those in my list. So anyway, there's my thoughts. Again, a great game, and I'll catch you on the next time. Please like, comment, subscribe.